Hey fellow vampires, my name is Ulti and welcome to the fourth and final part of Sunny's adventure. Today we will find out if I was able to beat the full V-Rising game while only playing in the sun. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, then check them out in the description. Today the plan is to take care of every remaining boss in Act 4, but first a quick reminder of the rules for this challenge. First, I can only play during the daytime in this challenge. I cannot outlevel any V-Blood that I am fighting, and I have to fight every V-Blood out in the open whenever possible. Let's start our adventure today. Last time we beat all the bosses up to level 70 in the game. There will be some easier but also some real challenges left today, and we are currently level 70 and I decided to first take care of Matka the Cursed Weaver. Her arena, which she cannot be pulled out of, is covered with a lot of shade, so therefore this fight was not very difficult, and a nice warm-up for some of the harder bosses to come. After killing Matka, I decided to collect a few ghost mushrooms, which we need to craft the ghost yarn to upgrade our armor later. We won't come back now to the Cursed Forest until we are ready to face Behemoth. On our way back to the base, we ran into Simon. Simon is a skull level boss, but he is actually level 80. Even though he's 10 levels higher, I wanted to give him a shot, and Simon is going to be one of those harder bosses today. First off, Simon walks pretty much all over Dunley, the Silverlight Hills and Farbane. So there's plenty of opportunity to fight him in the shade of trees. However, Simon has one ability which will make him hard. When Simon reaches a low percentage, he will summon a Mending Cross. This is a light beam spinning around him while shielding and healing him until the shield has been broken or he runs out of his cast time. The problem with this ability is that it breaks every bit of the environment around him, meaning all the shade cover from trees that you can use will be destroyed when he casts this ability, and he will always cast it. Anyway, I did a total of 2 tries on him, and even though I got him low and to the shielding phase, I knew this boss was gonna be probably the hardest boss of the day. Afterwards I went back to base and quickly got myself to level 74. At level 74 I thought it would be handy to terrorize Brighthaven a bit for some loot and mainly books, Godson coins and schematics. But while I was there I thought it would be a good idea to take out Azariel, the Sunbringer. A fight that can also only be done in the cathedral, so nothing different to normal, and he fell pretty easily. Afterwards I continued my rampage in Brighthaven and got stocked up on items, which I then returned to base. Now it was time for a few more bosses. First up it was Terraclaw the Ogre, another boss which cannot be fought outside. And there will be a few more in today's episode. Anyway, I used to struggle a lot on this boss in the Gloomrot expansion. However, that made me practice him like crazy, and after now fully understanding his mechanics, he is now one of the easier bosses for me. Afterwards I went to Voltatia the Power Master, a boss that can also not be fought outside, and even if you were to pull her outside, there's shade in all of the north of Gloomrot anyway. Anyway, this boss is still pretty tricky to deal with. However, I played it pretty clean, and even though I wipe on her from time to time, this time I managed to get her on my first attempt. After she was downed, I farmed a few more batteries, and then I went down to the charging station right south of Voltasia and charged them up, since we need a bunch of them. You might think now that I forgot about Henry, but I really haven't. Henry, another boss that cannot be fought outside. Yes, there is a theme going in this episode, but I promise you it will change later. Anyway, Henry is really not that hard to deal with. Just don't hit him when he uses counter, and use the right ultimate for phase 2. Using this dash ultimate makes your life just so much easier, so this was another easy kill. I needed a bit of sulfur, so I thought it would be a good idea, since I was in Gloomrot, to drop by the silver quarry. And after loading myself up with sulfur, it was finally time to head back to base. Here I had some crafting to do because Simon was next and Simon is level 80. However, I needed to unlock some recipes for the Athenaeum. So back in Brighthaven it was for me, and time to farm some more mobs to get coins, books and schematics. After I got my hands on a few bucks, I had over 260 gold coins on me, and I thought it would be a good idea to check out the treasure hunter in Gloomrot, who sells the weapon books. And I was lucky, he had the Sanguine longbook for sale, which is the weapon I was after. Back in base it was time to get back to crafting, and after making my Sanguine longbow and upgrading my necklace I got myself to level 80 and Simon was up next. Simon is really gonna be a pain in the ass, even though he's my level now. However, this mending cross ability was a serious problem. I found Simon next to the Bastion of Dunley and I tried beating him there. However, Simon beat me not once but twice. Each time the mending cross would just reduce the space so much that the sun got the better of me. And I knew I needed a better spot to take him down. Simon then walked slowly towards the Colosseum. Yes, the Colosseum is covered in shade, so I would not fight Simon here. However, there is a territory right south of the Colosseum. I had the idea to fight Simon's first phase on the road until he uses Mending Cross, then move onto the territory, one level above where the trees then would still be standing and giving me shade after he is done casting his ability. And this strategy worked like a charm, and Simon finally fell after dying 4 times to him. The endgame is now in sight, with 3 bosses at level 83 left and the final 4 shard bosses. I now went for a boss run, and first up was a boss that is very tricky even though you can only fight her in the shades of Mortium, namely General Valencia. Valencia is a really tricky boss and it is very easy to die on her. On the first attempt I took many hits in the beginning and I decided to reset her. I quickly healed myself up and went again, and this time she went down on probably one of my best kills ever on her. She's really a tough cookie. Next up was Gore Crusher the Behemoth in the Cursed Forest. As you might know, Gore Crusher, since patch 1.0, roams the Cursed Forest from time to time, leaving his cave. Normally I would want to fight him in his cave, however, for this challenge we want to fight him out in the sun. This is with our challenge rules. The tricky bit is that you have limited room because of the path in the Cursed Forest, very narrow, but there's also a lot of creatures roaming around. On the first try I really messed up and had the sun kill me. It was a very poor attempt and I should not have died here. It was a stupid mistake. I quickly resurrected and went for another go. This time I played better and Gore Crusher fell on this attempt. Now there was only one more level 83 boss left, and that is Lord Styx. And Lord Styx can also be fought only in the shade in Dracula's Demise. Lord Styx is though not really difficult. Frost Shield is extremely powerful here, and I mean extremely powerful. And if you use it in the right moment, Lord Styx practically kills himself. You should really try it out, it's hilarious every time you do it. With all normal bosses now defeated, it was time to prepare myself for the shard bosses. And you might know, 3 of the 4 shard bosses are inside a building and cannot be fought outside. However, the 4th one, which is normally the easiest one, is on the top of a platform with barely any shade at all, namely the Winged Horror. Therefore, I think for this challenge, he is the true final boss. So, I decided that I would not level any higher than 86 and beat all the 4 bosses, with the Winged Horror being the last one. I had to be careful though with my level. If you upgrade every piece of armor from one specific set, you get to level 87. So I needed 3 pieces from one set and 1 from another. But first I had to upgrade my weapon. And to upgrade it, I need either to get lucky with the level 2 invasions with a drop, or farm 1700 Greater Stygian shards for not only the weapon but also the blood key, which grants access to Dracula's castle. At level 81 I was not able to do 4 events in one go for the shards I needed. One of them grants roughly 400, so I had to farm just beneath Dracula's castle a bit. But after a while of farming, I got everything I needed and went to the vampire merchant. And as luck might have it, I got the legendary oak song. You don't hear me complaining about that one. I was pretty stoked now and really wanted to do the last 4 bosses. So back in base I did all the crafting I needed and got myself to level 86. Now it was time for the final boss run of the challenge. First I went for the 3 bosses that I cannot fight in the sun, starting with the lowest level one, Solaris. I really don't have much to say about any of these bosses. He felt pretty straightforward on the first attempt. Afterwards, I ran on my horsey to Adam. Again, just nothing much to say here. He really fell easily on the first attempt too, even though I rather would have fought him with a Reaper than a longbow. Playing Adam as melee is just so much easier. Normally Dracula is the final boss in the game, however he's also hiding in a building. So he was my next target on the list. And fighting him with a longbow is also awful. I prefer the Reaper here, time and time again. And because of that I died a few times, but he finally fell. Now we have only one boss left. The true final boss in this challenge. Tarzur the Winged Horror. You fight him on top of a platform which has only a few trees, which Tarzur has no problem destroying. And I'm gonna let you enjoy this one. Here's the fight from start to finish. And there we have it. I have beaten V Rising while only playing in the sun. Some parts of this challenge were not any different than normal, however some fights are exponentially harder playing in the sun. The biggest challenge for me probably was the Harpy boss. She was a real pain in the ass. Other noteworthy bosses were Tarzor, of course, but also the Golem Lady was really difficult. And let's not forget Simon. However, the most annoying part of the whole challenge was the fact that you were never really safe, and farming all the materials and everything in the sun was really tiring at some point. However, I'm glad that I've managed to do it. I really hope you enjoyed this mini series. I hope to see you this Tuesday, where we have something special waiting for you. And I mean, really special. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time.